Greetings, everyone. This is J-Belle, and this is Geeky Vices, where I talk about what random geeky thing I'm into this week. So, this week I'm actually into something new, which is very unusual for me. Usually I am rewatching something, or I'm watching something that's been out and I can just kind of binge watch. But this is actually something that I'm going to be having to wait for each week for the new episode to come out, which is unusual. And I haven't done that in a while because I don't have cable TV. I watch everything digitally. And the main exceptions are what I would used to wait for weekly would usually be reality shows. Back when I used to be into ANTM and Project Runway, I would go onto the CW website or the Lifetime website to watch those as they came out. And part of the fun of that was also reading the blogs that went along with it. And then also Drag Race, and I still do keep up with, although I am a little bit behind, but Drag Race I'm still very much into. But anyways, this is an anime that the significant other discovered, and I happened to walk in while he was watching it, and I got sucked in as well. And it's called, let me attempt the Japanese version, Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken. The English version is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Yep, you heard right, a slime. So the premise is that it's this pretty regular guy who has a pretty uneventful life. He ends up being dragged out by a friend who refers him as senpai. I don't know what the opposite relationship is, but so basically he's like the older socially superior mentorish figure in the relationship. Anyways, his younger friend invites him to meet his girlfriend, and while they're there, someone tries stabbing his friend, and he prevents the attack by taking the knife instead, and he ends up dying. And the thing is that as he's dying, he's thinking and saying things, and we hear this computerized voice saying, such and such, skill acquired. Like the fact that he's getting so cold. It's like, cold resistance, acquired. Heat resistance, acquired. And it's just, and we kind of know what's about to happen, but he doesn't know what's up with that. And then he'll say things like, oh wow, I'm 37 years old, and like at 30 if you're a great wizard, at 40 I would have been a sage. Sage ability unlocked. Ability upgraded. Great sage ability. And then the funny thing is that we find that he mentions how he's never had a girlfriend, and so he's a 37-year-old virgin, and he's saying how in his next life he's going to be much more aggressive with girls and hit on all of them. So then, Predator ability is unlocked. So yeah, I mean, he gets basically all these like other things like unlocked that we don't know what they all mean. Like we know they're gonna get. It says he gets a body that's not gonna bleed. That he's gonna have pain nullification. He mentions his friend like he basically is like, okay, live a good life, and don't forget, delete everything off of my computer, like delete everything electronically and dump it in the bathtub. And the voice is saying, electrical deletion, not possible. Electrical resistance acquired. So basically two things. One, we know he's resistant to electrical damage, and also he gets resistant to being paralyzed. But also, clearly this guy has a lot of porn on his computer he doesn't want anyone to find. So it's funny, and like it kind of gives you an idea of the guy, how like he is a little pervy, but he's not like over the top pervy. I mean, if you watch anime, you know that there's quite a spectrum of perviness. I mean, this is not anywhere near. Like as we see more of the character, we know it's not like he's like Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins, who's like trying to grab every girl's ass or boobs or whatever. No, it's just like a guy who's like, ooh, she's pretty. Ooh, boobs are soft. So it's like that kind of pervy where it's like, okay, it's kind of innocent and it's just mostly going in his head versus him doing things that make you feel like he's a creepy guy. But anyway, so all this happens, and then he wakes up and he doesn't have any sight or sound, and he's a slime. And yeah, as anyone who's played classic video games such as Dragon Warrior, slimes are usually like the weakest, like first monsters you encounter. Like, I mean, sometimes they do have like really annoying resistances, but usually they're one of the first things until you get to later levels where like there are certain special slimes. So yeah, the fact that like, he's theoretically like this really weak creature, But the thing is that from all those abilities he has, he's able to basically, really cool thing, he's able to, the sage ability we mentioned earlier, he's able to basically access, like, ask questions from the computer, like, in his head. But also he's able to basically eat pretty much anything and then analyze it. So, like, it's called predator ability. So he can eat, like, these random flowers, which turn out to be the component for healing potions. So he'll, like, then talk to the great sage program, and it will then make all the potions. So he's okay with just potions, so he just eats because there's nothing else to do. He finds this, like, ore called magical, he eats that because it's a magical, because, as I said, he has nothing else and he doesn't have sight yet. And he encounters a being who eventually does start getting sense, but he basically, very quickly, we see that he's very resistant to things and he's very adaptable. This guy is very practical and pragmatic, and I do like, some people might think he's a little bit flat of a character, but I like how you can tell that he's kind of like, okay, so this is how it works. And he keeps on comparing to a video game, and, like, so he's kind of matter of fact, and he's familiar enough with video game type rules where it doesn't completely shock him. And in later episodes, like, he does encounter, like, other races such as goblins and dwarves, and they don't know and even elves, which we haven't seen that much of, because honestly there's only been 4 episodes released so far. So as I said, like, it's a very new series, but I think it is so cool. And basically the idea is, like, he's this little tiny slime, but he is crazy powerful, and he's gonna keep on getting more powerful. And we see him do things where he's able to just, like, be like, oh, you're hurt? Here, I have all these components to make potions stored in me. Let me make some potions for you. You're healed up. You're good. Yay. And another interesting thing that, like, you definitely feel like this world is a video game versus a legit actual world. Partially because it's the Great Sage thing, but also because creatures in this world are usually unnamed monsters until something with magical ability names them. So we take names as something for granted, but, like, most things don't have names, and the fact that there's a creature or powerful creature that gives him a name, like, makes him more powerful. And also he innocuously is like, oh yeah, you guys don't have names in this random little village, let me name you all. And, like, he doesn't realize that, like, he's making them more powerful, and he's actually draining his own magic. And it does take him a few days to recover, but these become, like, some of his loyalist followers. And I like how he's very peaceful oriented. Like, he'd rather not fight. He'd rather, like, talk his way out of a situation or just intimidate people. But he basically is very, as I said, he is peaceful oriented, which I do like. So I do really like the main character. We haven't gotten to know that many other characters so far, although I will say, I don't want to give too many spoilers since it's early on, but I will say the being he encounters in the cave, as I said, it's a powerful being, and I love how intense that character is. It is funny how it's like, he sounds super angry when it's just like, no, he's just intense, and even when he's happy, he sounds angry, and it's funny. So yeah, I highly recommend this series. As I said, the English version is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. The Japanese version, excuse the butchering, I have no proficiency with any foreign languages. Tensei, Shitara, Slime, Datta, Ken. If you type in slime anime, you're going to probably find it. But yeah, I highly recommend this. I wish I could think of good comparable ones off my top of my head. But basically, if you tend to like fantasy type of animes, this is a good one. It's also like, I like kind of like, it's also like a good kind of like a little bit slice of life so far. It's not too much about like the epic battles and everything. It's like a little bit more so like one of his concerns is like for the village that he ends up basically becoming a protector for, like, is like, oh, we need to get you guys food, clothing, shelter. You guys are okay as far as food, but you guys don't really have the skills to do clothing and shelter. Let's go ahead and find people who can do that for you. So it's a little bit slice of life, which I love, but some people, it might not be enough action, but I think it's just so creative. And it's going to be and I also like how, like, this is a ridiculously powerful character, but it doesn't feel like he's broken. Like, there's reasons for it, and we see the build-up. And it's not like I feel like, oh, he's utterly invincible. I think there's going to be things that can definitely hurt him, but it's definitely moving along where he could eventually become one of the most powerful creatures, but he has to get there. And the average person is not going to have any chance against him, but he doesn't really want to fight people. He just wants to kind of get by, and he'll look out for people along the way, especially since it's like, oh, you're hurt? Here, let me make you potions. So yeah, I'm actually excited also that it's something new I'm watching, which I haven't done for a while. Like, usually, let me put it this way. I remember years ago, everyone was talking about Attack on Titan and One Punch Man, and everyone's now talking about My Hero Academia. For all of those, I think I've seen the equivalent of the first episode. Okay, maybe little bits and pieces a little bit later on, but it's like, I'm so far behind. I do want to watch this someday, but like, I'm never gonna be the hip, oh, I know it's the latest thing. I'm just kind of follow my whims and my moods when it comes to what I'm watching. So yeah, anyways, perhaps some of you will watch this. I encourage it. And I hope everyone enjoys their geeky vices. Thanks, everyone. Till next time. Bye.